I'll tell you something, Barry. When I was in college, I was with a zealous group of Christian students, and we would knock on those doors, and we did the surveys, and those are great, okay? And, and 4 spiritual laws, and we had it all down pat. And we did it because this is a should thing. As I grew in my faith, I realized walking in the Spirit is being open to the opportunities that God gives, not because we should do or ought to, but because we have the love of Christ in us, and we have our eyes on Jesus. When I don't have my eyes on Jesus, when my eyes are on other things, on myself or other things, I miss so many opportunities to share the good news of Jesus Christ.
Isn't that the truth?
And also, Satan can really discourage us too, because there's so many times when I blew the opportunity. And I look back, I thought, dang, why didn't I share Jesus with this person? and he goes, that's right, you're a loser, you shouldn't be.
Well.
And you know what? God says, hey, I covered that. I've covered that.
You'll get somebody else in their life.
He says, so I'm moving and working.
That's right.
You just be open, keep your eyes on me. And that's walking in the Spirit, walking with the Lord is the foundation by which we can start sharing Christ with other people. And I will tell you, there's a classic example of this. Was when there was a college student. He was 18, just started college. And I'll never forget, I started talking to him, and he says, I said, well, this room's big enough. You have a Bible study, a church service. And he goes, oh, are you a Christian? I go, yeah, are you? He goes, no. I said, well, what are you? He goes, you don't want to know. Of course, that was a wide invitation.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, yeah, I do. I said, let's sit down and talk. So I'm sharing with him, and he says, well, in college, I've learned some new ways of thinking. I said, what may be right for you may not be right for me? He goes, yeah. I said, how there are no absolutes? Yeah. How there really is no right and wrong? Yeah. I said, well, let me tell you that's not correct. And then I went through and I shared with him, and I went through the bridge diagram, which is one of my favorite, and gave him more than a carpenter, and I was, oh, this is great. And it had this sort of glassy look in his eyes, and afterwards I thought, what a waste of my time. What a waste of my time.
But his word never returns void.
It never returns void.
It never does. It always moves that person closer.
Right, and then get this, 17 years later, he knocks on our door.
17 years.
Yes,
okay.
17 years later, knocks on the door. He says, is Brad home? And I wasn't home, someone was house sitting for us. And he said, well, tell Brad I really want to thank him for taking the time to share the gospel with me 17 years ago, because you see, I didn't accept the gospel. And in fact, I made some bad decisions. I went to prison. And while I was in prison, I remembered what he shared with me. I surrendered my life to Christ. I became a follower of Christ. He says, I'm now out of prison, and I'm now in full-time ministry. And I will tell you something. When I heard that, I thought, wow, this is awesome, God. And it's not about harvest. It's just being faithful and letting him do the work.